Well, happy Thursday, making it through the week on this December 5th. Good morning. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. You can like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, wake up with us each and every weekday morning, live with America's Talking Network, or you can catch the podcast each and every weekday. Just search Illinois in Focus where you get podcasts, and also get the headlines at thecentersquare.com. where you can select a newsletter from Illinois, get the latest headlines there, but also what's going on over in Washington, D.C. Obviously, a lot to watch heading into January 20th with President-elect Donald Trump set to take office after 30 days ago winning the presidency over Vice President Kamala Harris. So clearly there's going to be a lot to report on that, including a segment later on. We'll tackle Chicago resident P. Ray Eastley responding to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's position on the immigration crisis and working or not working with the Trump administration, and contrasting that with what New York Mayor Eric Adams has to say. So we'll air the conversation I had with P. Ray Eastley from yesterday. That's coming up here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Also, we got a segment to tackle the latest in the corruption case against former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan. Some fascinating stuff being revealed in courts with audio recordings of phone calls. So we'll tackle some of that as well, as the jury is expected to hear from a sitting congresswoman. U.S. Representative Nikki Budzinski is said to possibly testify come Monday, but we'll get clearer images today of what the schedule is actually going to look like, because apparently the jury, who's been going since early October, they're looking for a day or two off, even though they've had Fridays off, and we just had an extended Thanksgiving break. So a lot to happen there. We'll cover that here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I know a lot of you are checking out what the latest is with the gun ban litigation. No update from the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals on the Southern District's case, where the Judge Stephen McGlynn, his 30-day stay on an injunction is coming up December 8th. So by December 9th, if another stay is not put in place, then the state will be enjoined or blocked from enforcing the Protect Illinois Communities Act, which is the state's gun and magazine ban. So a lot of anticipation as to what's going to happen here in the next few days. No update to the docket over the past 24 hours after the state's most recent filing, essentially opposing the plaintiffs, saying that there should not be another stay issued and that it should be lifted and go to the status quo of no gun ban. So nothing new there. But in the Schoenthal case, which is in the 7th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals, dealing with the prohibition of concealed carry on mass transit, there is a minor update there. You had a filing, I believe, yesterday or the day before in that appeals court case of Kim Foxx removing herself from the case because she's no longer the Cook County State's attorney. Now they've got Eileen O'Neill Burke that was slotted in there. So a replacement letter of sorts, because Kim Foxx isn't the state's attorney anymore. Eileen O'Neill Burke is. So that's the only update on the Schoenthal case. Any other updates on these bills or laws that are being challenged in the courts, we'll definitely keep you posted on that. So wake up with us here each and every weekday morning with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air, and you can connect that way on X, on Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube, but be sure to wake up with us here each and every weekday morning with America's Talking Network to get the latest here. Stay tuned. Much more coming up.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Good to see you.
Likewise.
That's former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan.
Morning, Mr. McLean.
Co-defendant Mike McLean.
Thank you.
Entering the federal court building in Chicago yesterday. The Center Square's reporter Jim Talamonte there covering this case. And just incredibly fascinating stuff coming out, especially in the wiretap conversations that are being presented. But Madigan, the jurors in his case are finally getting some other insights from inside the former speaker's office. Here's the headline from thecentersquare.com. Jurors hear former Illinois House Speaker's chief of staff at corruption trial. So the case, of course, centers around Madigan and McLean. Getting all kinds of charges against them for racketeering, bribery, official misconduct. The case started in early October. It's expected to go into January, if not February. But with that case ongoing, Jessica Basham testified. So let's go ahead and head over to the Center Square's article from Jim Talamonte, where he lays out the former chief of staff, Jessica Basham, testified. She worked for Madigan from 2018 to 2021. Previously, she worked as a research analyst for the Illinois House Democratic staff and as research and appropriations director for the Illinois House Democratic Caucus. Regularly seen around the Capitol at that time, especially right there in the House, working with staff and so on. Basham testified that she had communications in late 2018 and early 2019 with Governor-elect J.B. Pritzker's office about state board recommendations from Madigan's office. The government attorney introduced a memorandum from Basham in which she indicated that she sent information to Pritzker's special assistant, Nikki Budzinski, who now serves as U.S. Representative for Illinois' 13th Congressional District. The U.S. Attorney introduced emails from Basham to Budzinski and Ann Caprara, who was Pritzker's campaign manager and future Pritzker chief of staff, with personnel recommendations for the governor-elect's administration and transition team. Basham said she prepared the emails as directed by Madigan and said an updated list of the speaker's personnel recommendations to Pritzker from July 8th, 2019 included 85 names. Now, emails between Basham and Caprara involved the planning of weekly meetings between Madigan and Pritzker. The notes were displayed showing some of the objectives that they had, and if you click through, you can actually see the notes there. But the top 5 items were progressive tax, minimum wage, cannabis bill, campaign rhetoric, and public option to buy into Medicaid and sports betting. A whole list of other things there as well that you can see in the government evidence that they provided to the jury. Basham also listed Madigan's ideas to reconstitute state boards and commissions and raise salaries for directors. She said the idea was to wipe out existing board members and replace them with new members to be appointed by the new governor. Pritzker beat Republican Governor Bruce Rauner in 2018. Basham said that she had no involvement with fundraising and did not directly campaign for Madigan and did not work for the Democratic Party of Illinois. The district judge in February 12th of 2024 sentenced former Madigan chief of staff Tim Mapes to prison for lying to a grand jury that was investigating Madigan. In cross-examination with Madigan's attorney, Basham said that she stays in touch with Madigan and considers him a friend, and said that I don't think anybody works harder than Mike Madigan. She said that there were times when State Representative Bob Rita was somewhat inactive, and the speaker wanted Rita to be more robust in his discussions about gaming legislation. The two talked in a recorded conversation between Madigan and Basham March of 25th of 2019. And you can hear this call if you go check out the article at the Center Square.
This is Jessica.
Jessica, it's Mike.
Hi.
Let's talk about the caucus tomorrow and take me through the presenters again.
Sure. Let me grab my draft here. So the presenters for sports betting would be Mike Zaleski, Katie Stewart, Andre Tapetti, Lisa Hernandez, and Bob Rita.
Bob Rita. And what's Rita going to present?
So he's really not going to present anything, but his purpose is, well, number one, I didn't really want to cut him out of the conversation because all of this...
And they go on to talk more about the meeting and what Rita is ultimately going to be talking about. Separate conversation a few minutes later. They talk some more.
Jessica?
Jessica, in terms of Rita and what he's going to say, he ought to make a proclamation in the caucus that he's going to schedule hearings on all the gaming bills. Now, that takes us to the question, will the hearings be before a subcommittee? Will they be before the full committee? This is a mechanical question to be addressed by Chris Welsh. Does Chris Welsh want to sit there and chair an executive committee that listens to all the gaming bills, or does he not?
So, talking some of the mechanics of the legislature, just again showing Madigan, behind the scenes, kind of pulling some strings here, and then later on, more phone evidence revealed in court this week. Government attorneys played a recording of Madigan's co-defendant Mike McLean cautioning Bob Rita about communications around the gambling bill. What's fascinating here is it's somewhat of a long conversation, but McLean later on, he talks about the importance of keeping the communications clean.
Had an interest in the gaming bill. That's what it sounds like.
Okay, I'll find out.
No. But don't send a corrective one.
No, she won't do anything.
Yeah, because then it makes you look bad too, right?
Yeah.
So I just think you just try as best you can not to put anything in print.
Okay. Terry Link's come to see me twice.
Yeah.
Terry Link later popped
And a friend
for
of ours
tax
talked to me.
evasion.
So I think, when are you coming up here? Probably not till Friday night, are you?
Not till Friday, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll talk to you sometime Friday, because I'll be going home Friday.
Okay.
And maybe we can meet somewhere.
Let me see if I can find this again, because the quote here is pretty interesting.
As I said, as a standalone email, it's okay.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden,
Everybody's
over
getting this
2
thing.
months, all of a sudden 2 months, she's got put out 15 emails. Well, it doesn't take you long before you hiring a lawyer to talk to the feds. You spend $100,000 real fast.
Yeah. Okay. I will talk with her.
But he says the whole thing is millions and millions of dollars.
Okay. I'll
So the feds, are going to look at it
in
no matter
writing.
what.
And so and we did this with a number of people so that they weren't being wishy-washy.
Right.
Like the fact sheets. Maybe did you see the email?
I did. I didn't mind so much like send us what you want, as much as I said the phrase, and also tell us what your breaking point is.
Okay, I'll
just take a look at it.
I will.
Like I said, I don't think it's bad as a standalone, but if she's going to send out,
where's that clip at? Come on.
I was out in that sun and it's hot.
I was just out in the sauna too. The whole thing is millions and millions of dollars, and the feds are going to look at it no matter what. So they talk about that. Other recordings as well. You've got McLean talking about his role as Madigan's agent and pulling strings of Rita and so on. So just, again, really interesting stuff during this trial, and it continues. Jim Talamonte's in the courtroom getting the latest of what's being said. So if you want to follow up on that corruption case, be sure to read up with thecentersquare.com, where you can record, or you can listen to some of these recordings and even watch some of the videos. Just absolutely compelling stuff. So we'll check in with Jim tomorrow morning for the latest. So looking forward to that conversation here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning right here with America's Talking Network.
Asking police officers to behave as ICE agents is antithetical to building community trust.
We don't care that Brandon said that they're not going to help. We're calling ICE. That's it. Everybody who's listening or watching, the number is 866-DHS-2ICE, 866-347-2423. See something and say something today.
That's Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Chicago resident P. Ray Eastley going on about the city of Chicago putting an adversarial front up against the incoming Trump administration when it comes to the migrant crisis and the idea of mass deportations, while Eastley says they don't care if the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois ain't going to do anything because Chicago residents are going to be calling and cooperating with ICE. Interesting stuff here as we continue to watch what happens in the city of Chicago with Illinois in Focus Daily. Be sure to wake up with us each and every weekday morning for the live show, where you can take part in lively chats in the chat room. Also, you can get the podcasts. If you can't make it live, just search Illinois in Focus and you'll be able to join us that way. But also check out the segments and the news clips at the Center Square and with America's Talking Network. All right, so we talked a little bit about New York Mayor Eric Adams yesterday and some of the comments he made about wanting to work with the Trump administration. This is a Democrat wanting to work with the incoming Republican administration to go after violent non-citizens. But during a news conference earlier this week, Adams talked about the costs to taxpayers in New York of the migrant crisis. He said everybody should be upset at the Biden administration over. He's talking about $6.4 billion that New York City taxpayers have paid for non-citizens in the state, some would say illegally.
It's a dreamer, came here, crossed the river with his mother to participate in American Dream, and he now is a commissioner that is in charge of other dreamers. Those people should not be rounded up in the middle of the night. You know, these are people who love our country and they're participating in our country. Those who are here committing crimes, robberies, shooting at police officers, raping innocent people, have been a harm to our country. I want to sit down and hear the plan on how we're going to address them. And
he talked about how you can cancel him if you want, but he is obviously not really going to stand for violent non-citizens in New York City. So we'll hear a little bit more of what Eric Adams had to say, but P. Ray Eastley, when I connected with her, she's from Chicago, and she founded Chicago Red. You saw her earlier this week addressing the city council during a budget hearing, praising city council members for unanimously voting against a $300 million property tax increase and making comments that the city of Chicago is out of the business of funding non-citizen illegal immigrants, she says. So I asked her when we connected yesterday about the political sea shift that she's seeing, and what's the lay of the land now?
Well, I think that the citizens of Chicago are now aware that the emperor does not have on any clothes. Before, we were kind of tricked and gaslighted into these very liberal and failing policies through identity politics. However, organizations like mine, Chicago Red, we went and we removed the stigma from MAGA. We actually told people that it is not a racist thing to be pro-America. It's not a bigoted thing. That means that you love yourself and your family and those people who look just like you. And so now the movement is shifting. We saw that before, when the mayor wanted to push legislation through the city council, he was able to do that with the rubber stamp. We saw that when the curbs were sold. We saw that when the Skyway was sold. We saw that when Rahm wanted to close schools. However, this is the first time in the history of the city where the mayor got a stunning rebuke and 50 aldermen voted against him. So we even see this change now in the legislature, and it's a beautiful thing because now we all understand that the Democratic Party does not own us and they have no power over us.
So in talking with P. Ray Eastley, I had to get her reaction to New York Mayor Eric Adams standing firmly against the crisis, saying it's cost New York taxpayers $6.4 billion.
$200 million could have gone to 1,000 more police officers. $84 million could have gone to 730 park staffs. And you see some of the other numbers. Public schools, $33 billion. 50% of what it costs to run HRA went to this crisis. 50%. The police budget is less than what we spent. The entire NYPD is only $6.2 billion. Fire department only $2.6 billion. The long-term impact of what we did to this city is you're going to see it materialize in administrations in the future. They hurt the future of New York City. And when people hear me say $6.4 billion, they may say, well, okay, it's just $1 billion here, $1 billion there. No, federal government made me take $6.4 billion out of providing these services that we all should be angry at what happened to our city under this administration.
So Adams obviously upset because he said a lot of money could have gone to services to help the New York City residents. $6.4 billion worth. Chicago, it's what, 600 million plus $1 billion the state has spent. So we're talking approaching $2 billion, if not more. P. Ray Eastley on this.
I think that New York has a stronger mayor, obviously. But if we kind of like zoom out of the picture and look at a larger picture, the CTU has been corresponding with the Venezuelan government for over a decade. They go down there quite frequently. They've put out resolutions against the Venezuelan government and things that they're doing politically. So I personally believe that CTU went down there to pass out maps to let them know how to get to the city of Chicago to eat our tax dollars. With that being said, we can see that there's a huge difference between an independent mayor like Mayor Adams and a bought mayor like Brandon Johnson, because we know that he is owned by the Chicago Teachers Union. They actually contributed over $4 million to his campaign. So he owes them, and he's doing everything that they tell him to do.
So interesting to hear some of the criticism from Eastley on that. But to the mayor earlier this week, talking about how he hasn't met with the Trump administration yet.
We have not made any contact with the Trump administration because he's still in transition right now. So I'm not entirely sure if that is if there's an appropriate protocol there that could be just out of line. We're, as I've said, the city of Chicago, we're open for business. We're just not for sale.
So clearly, New York Mayor Eric Adams set to talk with the Trump administration's incoming border officials sometime this week. But Johnson earlier this week saying he hasn't even talked to the transition team yet. Asked about, possibly working with ICE to go after violent non-citizens.
Asking police officers to behave as ICE agents is antithetical to building community trust, right? But, I guess we shouldn't expect more for someone who was a part of an operation where the Capitol was attacked on January 6th, where police officers were trampled on by mobsters, essentially. So our values are our values, and we're going to protect the people of this city.
Our values are our values, and they're going to protect the people of the city. He includes non-citizens. Eastley says she doesn't care if Brandon or Governor J.B. Pritzker don't cooperate because the city's going to step up.
We're calling ICE. That's it. Everybody who's listening or watching, the number is 866-DHS-2-ICE, 866-347-2423. See something and say something today. We don't care that Brandon said that they're not going to help. We're going to help the citizens of Chicago, the people who pay into the $25 billion ICE budget. It's very disrespectful that they're asking us to shore the cost of Brandon's plans when ICE has $25 billion to deal with this. They know how to get the people out of here. They know how to house them. They know how to round them up. Why are we using our legislative capital toward them at all? They don't deserve it. So there's nothing that Brandon can do. Tom Homan already said that if Brandon gets in his way, he will be arresting him. So if he wants to protect the illegals in his official capacity, he's going to go to prison in his official capacity. And we're okay with that too. It's absolutely nothing he can do other than pontificate in front of the cameras. Nobody cares.
Now, one of the things obviously in front of Chicagoans is the budget, and they have to get something together by the end of this month for the coming fiscal year. And there's a $1 billion deficit unless they do some significant cutting, but looks like the mayor and city aldermen are looking for ways to increase revenue, everything from tagging property taxes to inflation to increasing liquor taxes and all kinds of other fees and tax increases. Eastley says enough's enough. They're done with it.
We're not doing that. That's it. We don't support it. And we went down there and courted the aldermen. A lot of people just see us on the mics and we're fussing with the mayor. But what we're also doing is courting aldermen to our cause. Alderman Zapato actually had on a Chicago red helmet that we make, these MAGA hats that we make. So we have friends. We have people who go and push our agenda to their peers. Our goal is to shake a hand and make a friend. So as we're doing this, I don't believe that we're going to have any more tax increases. We saw that the $300 million got shot down. The $150 million got shot down. Now he's floating like $68.1 million, and that got shot down as well. No sitting alderman wants to vote for the tax increase because they know that an election is coming up, and we're going to run people against them if they do. So Brandon is going to have to figure out how to plug the budget, and the easiest way to do that is by removing every dime of funding from the non-citizens, or as I call them, the illegals. They are illegal aliens. They are not migrants. My grandparents were migrants when they left the South. That's why it's called the Great Migration. These are illegal immigrants trying to usurp the social and political capital of the American Negroes, because they make us believe that we are all in some united fight against the white man, the man. But what I share with people all the time is that our ethnicity, we are a unique hybrid of African, Western European, and Native bloodlines. So no, we don't have time to get in racial fights right now when we're trying to save a country where our ancestors are buried deep, bone and flesh. No, we're not doing that anymore either. So it's a beautiful thing. It's wonderful. I think that there won't be any more tax increases. However, I am very happy that Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker are telling people, come to Illinois, come to Chicago, we'll protect you. All that'll do is put more pressure on the city council and the state legislature to get rid of the sanctuary policies, and that's our main goal. So if Greg Abbott is watching, send the buses, okay? We want the buses, Greg. Eric Adams, you don't want them in New York City anymore? That's okay, send them to Chicago. We gotta make people start to really feel uncomfortable again so that we can have legislative conversations, because it doesn't matter how much we go to City Hall and tell them, you know, we don't want the tax increases or get rid of the illegals. If they don't change the legislature, then we're just blowing hot air, because the budget follows the legislation. It's simple. So we're pushing for legislative change.
So again, thanks to P. Ray Eastley for connecting with me yesterday. We'll talk with her some more as we watch this continue to unfold. Get the headlines at thecentersquare.com and the podcast anywhere you get podcasts, Illinois in Focus, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning live with America's Talking Network for Illinois in Focus Daily. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Tomorrow, Friday, we'll wrap things up. Looking forward to talking with Jim Talamonte about the latest in the Madigan corruption trial, so we'll connect with him. Then we'll start looking at some new laws that are going to be taking effect January 1st. There's hundreds of them. I got to go through and cross-reference effective dates with synopses of these bills. A lot of work ahead of me. As we rapidly approach the Christmas holiday, we'll obviously talk more about the schedule for this show around that. So somebody, when I took off a few days for Thanksgiving, what did they say? 5-day Freddy or something? 5-day off Fred? I can't remember what it is. Kind of funny. All right, I really do appreciate you guys. Chat room is live and pretty active, and also thumbs up to see the concurrent viewer count. You guys are definitely showing your support by watching live, but also you guys are coming back for clips and all of that. So be sure to share the channel if you like what you see and you think other people will benefit from it. Listen, we're not charging you for this, right? I mean, we're not charging you for the headlines at thecentersquare.com. We are a nonprofit newswire service. So it's the season of giving. If indeed you are thankful for the work we do here, go ahead and donate. It's easy to do. Just go to thecentersquare.com and you can support our work there. So maybe consider making a gift in your friend's name or something like that. That'd be interesting. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back at it tomorrow here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with America's Talking Network.
Go ahead.